December 23rd, 2008. 6:47 p.m. I'm sitting in my Palo Alto office, staring at a piece of paper that could destroy everything I've worked for. The numbers don't lie. Tesla has exactly 6 days of cash left. 6 days. My CFO just walked out of my office after delivering the worst news of my life. Elon, we're done. The banks won't extend our credit line. Our suppliers are demanding payment upfront. The employees haven't been paid their Christmas bonuses, and half of them are updating their resumes. I picked up my phone to call my brother Kimball, but my hands were shaking so bad I couldn't dial. This wasn't supposed to happen. Tesla was supposed to change the world. We were supposed to prove that electric cars could be sexy, fast, and profitable. Instead, we were about to become another Silicon Valley cautionary tale. The global financial crisis had hit us like a tsunami. Lehman Brothers had collapsed 3 months earlier, taking the entire auto industry down with it. GM and Chrysler were begging Congress for bailouts. And here we were, a startup that had delivered exactly 147 cars, trying to survive in the worst economic disaster since the Great Depression. I walked over to the window and looked down at the Tesla Roadster parked in our lot, the first production electric sports car in modern history. It was beautiful, revolutionary, and apparently worthless, because in 6 days Tesla would be forced to shut down forever. But what happened next would either save the company that would revolutionize transportation or destroy me in the process. This is the story of the most important week in automotive history. The irony wasn't lost on me. Just 18 months earlier, I'd been on top of the world. PayPal had sold to eBay for $1.5 billion, making me worth over $100 million at age 30. I was the golden boy of Silicon Valley, the guy who could turn any crazy idea into gold. Now I was staring at bankruptcy papers. Tesla wasn't my only problem. SpaceX had just experienced its third consecutive rocket explosion. The space company I'd poured $100 million into was also on life support. Solar City, the solar panel company I'd helped my cousins start, was struggling to find investors. Everything I'd built since PayPal was collapsing simultaneously. I remember walking through Tesla's Menlo Park headquarters that morning. The halls that used to buzz with excitement were eerily quiet. Engineers huddled in small groups, whispering about job interviews at Apple and Google. The receptionist avoided eye contact. Word travels fast in a small company. Our first product, the Tesla Roadster, was a marvel of engineering. 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, 245 miles of range, silent as a whisper, but faster than a Ferrari. We'd proven that electric cars didn't have to be golf carts. But proving a concept and running a profitable business are two completely different things. Every Roadster we built cost us $140,000 to manufacture, and we were selling them for $109,000. We were losing $31,000 on every single car. The more successful we became, the faster we went bankrupt. Our production line was a disaster. What should have taken 30 minutes was taking 30 hours. Cars came off the line with misaligned panels, faulty electronics, and doors that didn't close properly. We were essentially hand-building each vehicle. The math was brutal and simple. We had $9 million in the bank, and were burning through $4 million per month. Even a first-year business student could see how this story ended. December 19th, 2008. 4 days before Christmas. I'm sitting in a conference room at Kleiner Perkins, one of Silicon Valley's most prestigious venture capital firms, making what I knew could be Tesla's final pitch. Around the table sat some of the smartest investors in the world. These were the people who'd funded Google, Amazon, and dozens of other companies that changed everything. If anyone could save Tesla, it was them. Gentlemen, I began, I'm not here to sell you on Tesla's potential. I'm here to sell you on Tesla's necessity. I clicked to my first slide, a graph showing global oil consumption skyrocketing while reserves dwindled. The world is running out of oil, not in 100 years, not in 50 years. The easy oil is already gone. What's left is expensive, dirty, and controlled by regimes that don't particularly like us. John Doerr, the legendary investor who'd backed Google and Amazon, leaned forward. Elon, we get the macro thesis. Electric cars make sense in theory, but your execution is problematic. Problematic. That was the polite VC way of saying catastrophic. You're burning cash faster than any startup I've ever seen, continued another investor. Your manufacturing costs are insane. GM has spent decades and billions perfecting car manufacturing. What makes you think a startup can compete? I took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. Because GM thinks like an oil company that happens to make cars. We think like a technology company that happens to make cars. GM sees electric vehicles as a compliance exercise. We see them as the future of transportation. I clicked to the next slide, our roadmap for the Model S sedan. The Roadster was never meant to be profitable. It was meant to be proof. Proof that electric cars can be desirable. The Model S will be profitable because we're not retrofitting a gas car, we're building from the ground up for electric. The room was silent. These investors had heard thousands of pitches. They knew desperation when they smelled it. How much do you need? Doerr finally asked. $40 million, and I need it by December 29th or Tesla shuts down permanently. That night, I drove home to my house in Bel Air in complete silence. No radio, no phone calls, just me and the weight of what I was about to do. I parked in my driveway and sat there for 20 minutes, staring at the house I'd bought after the PayPal sale. 8 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, a pool, a tennis court. The American dream, purchased with Silicon Valley stock options. But dreams don't fund electric car companies. I pulled out my laptop and opened my personal financial statements. After the PayPal sale, I'd walked away with about $165 million after taxes. I'd already invested $70 million of my own money into Tesla and SpaceX. Now I was looking at putting in everything else. My financial advisor had been calling for weeks, begging me to diversify. Elon, you can't put all your money into your own companies. What if they fail? What if they fail? The question that kept me awake every night. But here's what my financial advisor didn't understand. I didn't start Tesla to get rich. I was already rich. I started Tesla because I genuinely believed that if we didn't solve sustainable transport, humanity was screwed. Climate change wasn't waiting for us to figure out our cash flow problems. Every day we delayed was another day of pumping carbon into the atmosphere. Every traditional car sold was another car we'd have to replace with electric eventually. I thought about my kids. What kind of world was I leaving them? A world where they'd have to explain to their children why we knew about climate change but didn't act fast enough. I opened my banking app and stared at my account balance, $35 million in liquid assets. Everything else was tied up in investments and real estate. I could walk away, sell Tesla to Toyota or GM for parts, use my remaining money to live comfortably for the rest of my life, start a nice, safe venture capital fund, or I could bet everything on a dream that most people thought was impossible. I clicked transfer funds and typed in $20 million, more than half of everything I had left. My finger hovered over the confirm button for what felt like an eternity. Christmas Eve, 2008. While most families were gathering around Christmas trees, I was in Tesla's empty factory, surrounded by half-built roadsters and the ghosts of what could have been. The transfer had gone through. $20 million of my personal money, my kids' college funds, my retirement, my security blanket, now belonged to Tesla Motors. But it wasn't enough. The VCs had passed, every single one of them. Too risky in this economic environment, they said. Come back when you figured out manufacturing, they said. Maybe after the recession, they said. The recession that was killing us was also making it impossible to raise money to survive it. The perfect catch-22. I called JB Straubel, our CTO and the technical genius behind our battery technology. JB, I need you to be honest with me. Is this technology real? Can we actually build a profitable electric car company? There was a long pause. Elon, the technology is there. The battery costs are dropping every month. The performance is already better than gas cars. The only question is whether we can survive long enough to scale it. Survival. It always came back to survival. I walked over to one of our roadsters and opened the hood. Where a traditional car would have a big, complicated engine, ours had elegant simplicity. No pistons, no combustion, no emissions. Just batteries, motors, and software. It was beautiful. It was the future. But the future doesn't pay salaries. My phone buzzed. A text from my assistant. Daimler wants to meet next week about a potential partnership. Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, one of the oldest and most respected car companies in the world. This could be it. This could be Tesla's lifeline. But there was a catch. There's always a catch. Daimler wanted to see our manufacturing capabilities. They wanted to know we could deliver cars on time, on budget, and with the quality their customers expected. The same manufacturing capabilities that were currently losing us $31,000 per car. I had 6 days to figure out how to convince one of the world's largest automakers that a startup burning cash in a garage could be their partner in the electric future. 6 days to save Tesla or watch it die. December 27, 2008, 3 days left. The Daimler executives arrived at our Menlo Park facility in a convoy of black Mercedes sedans. As they stepped out, immaculate in their German engineering precision, I couldn't help but notice the contrast with our scrappy startup operation. Dr. Thomas Weber, Daimler's head of development, extended his hand. Mr. Musk, we're very curious about your electric powertrain technology. I led them to our engineering lab, where JB had prepared our most impressive demonstration. We'd taken a Mercedes smart car and replaced its entire powertrain with Tesla technology. Transformation was remarkable. What was once a slow, noisy city car was now a silent, instant acceleration machine. Would you like to drive it? I asked Dr. Weber. For the next hour, I watched German automotive executives people who'd spent their careers perfecting internal combustion engines, drive our electric smart car around the parking lot with grins on their faces like kids on Christmas morning. Mein Gott, Weber said, stepping out of the car. The torque delivery is immediate, no lag, no vibration. This is actually superior to combustion. But then came the hard questions. Mr. Musk, your technology is impressive, but can you manufacture it at scale? Our customers expect perfection. One recall could destroy a brand that took a century to build. I thought about our production line, where we were still hand-assembling cars like artisans. I thought about our quality control issues, our supply chain problems, our cash flow crisis. Dr. Weber, I said, I won't lie to you. We're not Mercedes. We don't have your manufacturing expertise, but we have something you don't have. We have necessity. He raised an eyebrow. Necessity. You can afford to wait 10 years to perfect electric vehicles. We can't. For us, electric isn't a side project or a compliance exercise. It's everything. That urgency, that focus. It makes us move faster than any traditional automaker ever could. Weber exchanged glances with his team. What would a partnership look like? You give us a $50 million investment for a 10% stake. In return, we supply you with electric powertrains for your vehicles. You get our cutting-edge technology, we get your manufacturing expertise and global reach. The room went silent. $50 million would not only save Tesla, it would give us runway to perfect the Model S. We'll need to discuss this internally, Weber said. How quickly do you need an answer? I looked at my watch. How does Monday sound? December 28th, 2008. Sunday morning. Less than 24 hours of cash left. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't think about anything except whether my phone would ring with good news or if Tesla would become a very expensive lesson in hubris. I drove to the factory at 5 a.m. The security guard looked surprised to see me. Working weekends again, Mr. Musk? Something like that, I replied. The factory floor was eerily quiet. Dozens of half-built roadsters sat motionless on the production line like an automotive graveyard. Each one represented thousands of hours of engineering, hundreds of thousands of dollars in materials, and the dreams of a team that believed we could change the world. I picked up a wrench and started tightening bolts on one of the cars. It felt good to work with my hands, to focus on something concrete instead of drowning in spreadsheets and cash flow projections. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Couldn't sleep either? It was JB, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Thanks, I said, accepting the coffee gratefully. Tell me honestly, if Daimler says no, what happens to the team? JB sat down on a workbench. Half of them already have job offers. Tesla has some of the best automotive engineers in the world. They'll land on their feet. And you? He smiled sadly. I believe in this technology, Elon. Electric vehicles are inevitable. The question is whether Tesla gets to lead that transition or just becomes a footnote in automotive history. We worked in silence for the next few hours, 2 guys in their 30s trying to hand-build the future of transportation. Around 10 a.m., other engineers started showing up. Word had spread that we were working weekends. Soon the entire factory floor was buzzing with activity. Engineers, technicians, even office staff were pitching in. Nobody talked about the Daimler meeting. Nobody mentioned our cash situation. They just worked. Looking around at that team, brilliant people who could have comfortable jobs anywhere but chose to bet their careers on an impossible dream, I realized something important. Even if Tesla failed, even if we ran out of money, we'd already succeeded in proving something crucial. Electric cars weren't just possible, they were inevitable. The technology worked, the performance was superior, the only question was timing, but I still really wanted that phone to ring. December 29th, 2008, 11:43 a.m. Pacific Time. I was in my office staring at our bank balance, $1.2 million, enough for maybe 3 more days of operations. My phone had been silent all morning. Then it rang. Mr. Musk, this is Dr. Weber from Daimler. My heart stopped. This was it, the moment that would determine Tesla's fate. Dr. Weber, I hope you had a good weekend. Very productive, actually. We've been discussing your proposal extensively. Your technology is impressive, but we have concerns about your manufacturing capabilities and financial stability. Here it comes, I thought. The polite rejection, the maybe in the future, that means never. However, Weber continued, we believe that Tesla's technology could be valuable for our Smart 4 electric vehicle program. We're prepared to make an investment. I stopped breathing. We'll invest $50 million for a 10% stake, contingent on certain manufacturing milestones and quality standards. I was still trying to process what I just heard when Weber added, Oh, and we'd like to order 1,000 battery packs and electric powertrains for our pilot program. 50 million in investment, plus a massive purchase order. Tesla wasn't just saved, we were thriving. Dr. Weber, I managed to say, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful partnership. After I hung up, I sat in my office for exactly 30 seconds, absorbing the magnitude of what had just happened. Then I ran out to the factory floor. Everyone, gather around! I shouted over the sound of machinery. 200 employees stopped what they were doing and circled around me. I looked at their faces, tired, worried, but still hopeful. Tesla is not just surviving, I announced. Tesla is going to thrive. Daimler just committed to a $50 million investment and a massive purchase order. The cheer that went up could have powered one of our roadsters. People were hugging, crying, laughing. One engineer threw his hard hat in the air. But the best part wasn't the money. The best part was watching a team of brilliant people realize that their impossible dream was actually going to happen. January 15th, 2009. 3 weeks after we almost died, I'm standing in front of a packed auditorium at the Detroit Auto Show preparing to announce Tesla's partnership with Daimler. The automotive press is skeptical. A startup partnering with Mercedes? What does Daimler know that we don't? What they knew was simple. The future had arrived ahead of schedule. I looked out at the audience, automotive executives, journalists, analysts who'd been predicting Tesla's demise for years. Some looked curious, others openly hostile. All of them were about to witness history. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, today marks the beginning of the end of the internal combustion engine. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. This was Detroit, the heart of American automotive manufacturing. These people had built their careers on gasoline engines. For over a century, cars have been powered by controlled explosions. Thousands of tiny explosions per minute, converting chemical energy to mechanical energy at roughly 35% efficiency. It's loud, it's dirty, it's complicated, and it's about to become obsolete. I clicked to my next slide, the Tesla Roadster's powertrain. Electric motors are 95% efficient, they're silent, they're clean, they produce maximum torque instantly. The only question was never whether electric cars would replace gas cars. The question was when. The room was dead silent now. Daimler's investment in Tesla isn't just about money. It's about recognizing that the transition to electric vehicles isn't coming in 20 years. It's happening right now. After the presentation, reporters swarmed me with questions. Mr. Musk, Tesla nearly went bankrupt last month. How do we know this partnership will last? I smiled. Because Daimler isn't investing in Tesla's balance sheet, they're investing in Tesla's technology. And that technology is going to power the next generation of Mercedes-Benz vehicles. What's next for Tesla? I thought about the Model S sedan we were designing, a luxury electric car that could go 300 miles on a single charge, accelerate faster than a BMW M5, and cost less than half the price of our Roadster. We're going to prove that electric cars aren't just better for the environment, I said. They're better, period. Today, as I look at Tesla's gigafactories producing hundreds of thousands of vehicles per year, as I watch our stock price making investors wealthy beyond their wildest dreams, as I see every major automaker scrambling to catch up to our electric vehicle technology, I remember those 6 days in December 2008, the 6 days when Tesla Motors almost died. But here's what I learned during the darkest week of my entrepreneurial life. The difference between a good idea and a world-changing company isn't intelligence, isn't luck, isn't even having the best technology. It's the willingness to bet everything when everyone else thinks you're crazy. Those Daimler executives didn't invest in Tesla because our financials looked good. They were terrible. They didn't invest because we had proven manufacturing capabilities. We barely had any. They invested because they recognized something that most people missed. Electric vehicles weren't just an alternative to gas cars. They were superior to gas cars. But it took almost losing everything for me to truly understand what we were building. Tesla wasn't just another car company. We were the catalyst for the entire automotive industry's transition to sustainable transportation. Every major automaker now has electric vehicle programs. Billions of dollars are flowing into battery research. Governments around the world are setting deadlines to phase out internal combustion engines. The future we almost died trying to create. It's happening exactly as we imagined it. But none of it would have happened if we'd played it safe. If I'd listened to my financial advisor and diversified my investments, if I'd accepted the conventional wisdom that startups can't compete with 100-year-old automakers, the biggest risks often disguise the biggest opportunities. Those 6 days taught me that when you're working on something that truly matters, something that could change the world, you don't get to choose your timeline. The world doesn't care about your cash flow problems. Climate change doesn't wait for you to figure out manufacturing. You either find a way or you become irrelevant. Today, When young entrepreneurs ask me how to handle existential crises in their companies, I tell them about December 2008. I tell them that your company's darkest hour often comes right before its greatest breakthrough. But most importantly, I tell them this: if you're not willing to risk everything for your vision, then your vision isn't big enough. Tesla didn't just survive those 6 days. We used them as fuel to build something that nobody thought was possible, a car company that makes people excited about the future. The question isn't whether you'll face your own 6 days of crisis. The question is what you'll do when they arrive. Will you play it safe, or will you bet everything on changing the world? The choice is yours, but choose quickly. The future is electric, and it won't wait forever. Sometimes the best decisions are made when you have no choice but to believe in the impossible.